in gun violence and in some of the mass shootings we have seen. Parents have a responsibility, as we talked about with Dr. Bart Rossi earlier, and I want to bring in now to talk more about that Erica Katz, who is the author of Bonding Over Beauty, joining me here in the studio. Great to see you, Erica.
Good to see you.
Can we draw, first of all, can we draw a line between these kind of mass shootings we've seen and family background? Are there commonalities in many of the cases we've seen, or any of the cases we've seen?
Well, it's very hard to tell because there are so many different cases and different factors into why somebody would actually do something like this. The most important thing we can do is be proactive as parents to try to protect our kids as best we can. And one of the things I suggest is, first of all, we need to take some of the mystery out of guns. We need to talk to our children and say, look.
Whether you are a gun owner or a gun proponent or you're against guns, talking to your kids is going to help, whichever view you have.
Well, I think you have to talk to your kids no matter what, because remember, in 2009, Congress did some research, and they found out there were 310 million firearms in this country, and that does not include anything on military bases. And the population was 314 million people at the time.
Wow.
So whether you're for guns or against guns, they're here. Pandora's box is open, and we need to deal with what we have in front of us, and we can't just wait for legislation. We have to, as parents, do something. So the first thing you have to do is say to your kids, if you ever see a gun, don't touch it.
Right.
It sounds like a very simple thing, but how many parents out there have ever really said that to their kids? It's just a simple thing, but you need to say it. And then you say, if you do see a gun, you don't touch it, and you tell an adult immediately. Then I think if you're a gun owner, you really do have to take the mystery out of the gun, and you need to talk to your kids. It has to be age appropriate, but you have to tell them why you have that gun, what it's there for. Are you using it for sport or utility? And then you need to lock it up, maybe put it in a safe, and the safe has to have a code that your kids do not know. So I think that is really important.
What about the idea? What about the very difficult process of talking to your kids in the wake of gun violence, in the wake of something like the terrible massacre at Sandy Hook? How important is that?
Well, I was in this situation. I have a 12-year-old son and I have a 9-year-old daughter. Now, my 9-year-old daughter was very, very concerned about this because she, of course, thought, could some bad guy come in and do this in my school? And I think you really need to reassure your child, this is a very uncommon thing. This is not something that happens every day. It was a crazy person. And you need to put the newspapers away and try to have them not exposed to it, because it's a horrible thing. And it's hard for us to understand and explain. How could a child understand it?
Right. Now, on the other side of this, those who may perpetrate these kind of acts, we're talking to Dr. Rossi about this earlier. If you are a parent and you think that your child is having some real issues, what do you do first?
If you're a parent and you think your child is really having issues, first of all, stay out of denial. A lot of parents don't want to deal. It's very hard as a parent to realize your child's not perfect. I see all the time a child will come home, maybe the teacher will call, or a parent will call and say, your child's bullying my child, and they just sort of pass it off. Oh, it's not true. You're overreacting. I think as a parent, if you're seeing warning signs, you need to pay attention. Hopefully try to get psychiatric help. And you can't live in a box. You can't say, oh, not my child. My child would never. I can't even tell you how many parents say to me, my child has good judgment. Let me tell all parents out there, there's no such thing as good judgment in a child, because as great as the judgment can be, their brain isn't fully developed, and they do things. They just do.
Right.
And I'm not talking about gun violence per se. The kids just do bad things.
Sure.
It happens. So you really, as a parent, need to be aware. You need to talk to your kids. And also, I think parents need to monitor their kids' social media.
Right.
Because in a lot of these cases, they find that they had YouTube videos where they were posting things. They were posting things on Facebook. There was violence. It was there. There were seeds of it. So look at your kids' status updates and ask to see their friends' status updates as well. Talk to them. And instead of putting your kids on the spot, try to talk about other people. And, oh, did you see what this one did and that one did? So that they feel like they can communicate with you and that you respect them. And that's really important in communicating with your child.
All right, great advice. Erica Katz, author of Bonding Over Beauty. Thank you very much indeed, Erica.